Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Lucy and Tim Show. So we hope you've watched our other episodes. If you haven't, where have you been? Go and check them out. Watch those episodes. So this evening, I'm joined as always by Lucy. Hi, Lucy.
Hiya, Tim. You're right.
I'm okay. But a mildly stressful day, but we're not going to talk about that because today we're going to talk about a super hot topic, aren't we?
We are.
We're going to talk about lemmings.
Absolutely. Can we talk about sheep too?
Oh, no, we're not going to talk about sheep.
Okay, just lemmings.
Just lemmings.
Okay.
Although lemmings and sheep have some similarities, don't they?
They do.
They both have 4 legs.
Yeah.
They're both mammals.
Yeah.
They both live in the wild.
Yeah.
And they both sort of follow each other, don't they? But I don't think lemmings follow sheep and vice versa. I think they follow their brethren.
I think in some ways also their behaviour is potentially misunderstood.
You think so?
I think so.
Tell you something that is misunderstood now, and that's today's topic, because we are going to talk about digitalization in social care. And that is a super hot topic, isn't it? Now, when Lucy and I decided that we would do this subject, Lucy did some research, didn't you, Lucy? And I called her a SWAT for doing the research. So, Lucy, you did research, didn't you? She's going to read her research now about digitalization.
I did.
You can do the short version.
Well, the short version is, I was able to remember this because where I used to be, this previous health minister used to be my local MP. So if you're knowledgeable, you'll be able to work out where I used to live.
I guess it wasn't Matt Hancock.
No. So Sajid Javid was the guy that started to talk about digital transformation. So I have a document in front of me, and in it states, and I shall quote, "The long-term sustainability of health and social care is dependent on having the right digital foundations in place. The aim is something that we can all get behind, a health and social care system that will be much faster and more effective and deliver more personalised care." It goes on to say, taking the right national and local decisions on digital now, it will be able to deliver on 4 goals of reform up to 2025 and beyond. These are intended to ensure that the health service is equipped to prevent people's health and social care needs from escalating, personalise health and social care and reduce health disparities, improve the experience and impact on people providing services, and transform NHS performance.
So 2025.
I think there's a big myth out there.
Now, one of the things I listened and heard you say then was the right decisions.
Yeah.
Now, I'm concerned about this rush to digitalization. Now, don't get me wrong, I think it's a good idea. And I've done many LinkedIn posts about the benefits of this. But I am concerned that social care providers are making the wrong decisions because of the pressure they feel they're put under. And I think they are put under pressure. And I hear lots of rumors about by March next year, 2024, if a social care provider isn't embedding digital, they will not get a rating of good. Now, I don't know where that's come from. And you've done research, I've done research. I can't find where that comes from, but I hear it a lot. And I'm worried that care providers are making the wrong decisions because of panic.
Mm.
And this is where our analogy with lemmings comes from, doesn't it?
Yes.
I'm worried that social care is going to rush off the cliff. And I've come across care providers that have moved to digital and they've made a right mess of it. And they've purchased the wrong tech for them. So that's what I think we need to discuss, about warning people to choose wisely, to do your research about what your service actually needs. And you've got an example of that, haven't you?
Yes.
Where somebody chose the wrong system for them, embedded it, and it was just the wrong thing.
Yeah, completely. A provider who provides care to a specific client group where their needs are very clinical, and there would be specific recordings that would need to be made, and the software they purchased did not meet that clinical need, and it hadn't been identified that there were huge gaps in this software, because ultimately it was for a different client group. And they had a quality assurance visit from their local ICB, and the ICB said, where is your, and asked for certain specific clinical documentation, and it wasn't there, and they hadn't been recording it because the system didn't ask for it. And that concerns me. It concerns me from a compliance perspective for the damage to the business, but it also concerns me massively from an outcomes perspective for the person that you're caring for. So if I need a system that is able to document, say, for example, a body map.
Yes.
And there is not a body map on the system, then I might not be recording the marks, the bruises, pressure damage. So fundamentally, that puts me as a service massively at risk. And it also fundamentally massively impacts.
I'll give you a real example of body maps and digital systems, but I just need to commend you for managing to give that example and managing to not say the word that was screaming in your head all the way through. I know the example you see, and you were protecting the confidentiality of the provider, weren't you?
Yeah,
but there was a word in your head that you were trying not to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did an audit of a
professional.
And I was looking at medication, and they've got an email system, one of the very common email systems, and I'm not going to say which one. So I said, where's the body maps for topical medication? So they showed me how, on the electronic system, they can draw on a body map where they apply the cream, which is great. I said, can I see the body map that says where to put the cream? They said, yeah, come on then. Where are we going? So they took me out of the meds room, they took me down the corridor, and in the corridor was a locked trolley. We'll come on to the locked trolley in a minute. And that's where they keep all of the topical creams. On top of the creams was a red folder. In the red folder were the paper body maps annotated with highlighter pen. So their digital system for EMR didn't have a body map to show the staff where to apply the cream. So they had to find a workaround, and the workaround was, let's get the old-fashioned paper body map and mark it with a highlighter pen. Now, back to the trolley with the creams in. I then pointed out to them, you've put a plastic trolley full of flammable emollient in a means of escape. Can I see your fire risk assessment, please? Because they put a plastic trolley full of paraben-based emollients in a corridor. They went, we never thought of that. But the same provider, I said, can I see the PRN protocols? Because you need PRN protocols, don't you? So what did they do? They got me the green folder. What's in the green folder? The PRN protocols. And then I said, because it was a CQC registered service, can I see the records of why the PRN was administered? What was the outcome, and whether the medicine was effective? Because CQC want to see all of those things. Oh, we don't know how to do that. We've only had the system for a year. I'm like, but this is, but I know this service. But you had this SUST when you had paper. And now you got this hybrid. And I think one of the problems is care providers don't know what their service needs. They don't spec it properly. Then they don't go out and get something that meets their needs. And also, they fall for the sales pattern, don't they? And we've all fallen for the sales pattern, haven't we? I've got many things that I've fallen for the sales pattern. many things that I don't want and don't work.
You know, you need a buying strategy like mine, Tim.
What's your buying strategy? Don't buy it.
Pretty much, yeah. If I want it, I need it, I can afford it, it looks good and it's good quality, I'll buy it. If you try to sell to me, I'm gone.
Very true.
But I was thinking then of an analogy, another one, not lemmings, but it's like digital systems right now are like a sweetie shop for little children. There is so much choice. And we go into the sweetie shop. I can remember as a little girl with my gran going into this old-fashioned sweetie shop. And all of the walls in this shop were the big glass jars with the black lid on, and they were filled with sweets with these lovely lit labels, and they were lined up like soldiers stood to attention. Sweets up to the ceiling, everywhere was sweets. I felt like I was like in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's what digital planning systems are for providers. You walk in and you're like, there's so much choice. Do I want a chewy sweet? Do I want a sucky sweet? Do I want a sweet that's going to last me ages? Do I want one with a sour taste or a sweet taste? And it's like, where do you start? I never, as a little girl, before I went into this shop with my gran, actually planned out which sweet I would like.
You didn't have a buy-in strategy then.
I didn't have a metaphor for sweets then. Now I have got a metaphor for sweets, but we'll leave that for another point in time. But my point is here, as a little girl, I just wanted sweets. And this is very similar to providers just wanting digital planning systems because they think they've been told they should.
And they feel pressurized that if they don't have a digital system, they will be lagging behind.
Yeah, or there'll be a reprisal.
Yeah. So I think our first message to any social care provider considering moving to digital is work out what you wanted to do. And predominantly you wanted to do what your current system does. Because your current system has probably served you quite well for quite a long time. And there are some software providers that will build you a system using your current documentation. And we're not going to mention or recommend any software providers at all in our Lucy and Tim show, are we? And even if they offer to sponsor us, we want to be impartial, don't we?
Yeah, and I think the thing is that I can look at lots of software systems and say, that's really good. But if you did this with it, and I could probably do that to most of the software systems that are out there, that, you know, and that's because fundamentally, when you've worked in social care and you've seen all these templates, you have the knowledge to be able to do that.
At the care show, I went and did the rounds of a few of the software providers, and I was doing what you've just said. And if you did this, and there was one poor gentleman, and I think I fried his brain by asking, why doesn't it do this? Why doesn't it do that? And I think he couldn't wait to get rid of me. Now, if he's watching this, he knows who he is.
Well, you were obviously gentler than I was, because I went to one software provider and I saw stuff on their marketing that I did not like. It did not sit comfortably with me, the language that they used. So I challenged them on it. They have since been in touch to tell me that they have changed their marketing based on my feedback.
Very nice of them.
I know, impressive.
Did you send them an invoice for your consultancy services?
I didn't know. Maybe I should.
Maybe you should. The other thing I don't think providers do, I don't think they do an impact assessment of the change to digital. And I think they believe what they're told about the implementation process. It's going to be seamless. It's not. And like all software, most of us can't use the software we use because we can make it go. Like I can make Zoom go, so can you. But, you know, I've noticed that there are things now in Zoom that I don't know what it does. And most of us can't use it properly, can we? And I know of a provider that 2 years ago signed up for a digital system And all they use it for is to make care records, because they haven't yet managed to transfer their care plans. I know of another provider that it took them 2 years to move from one digital system to another. I know of another provider that cancelled their contract with one software provider to move to another one, and then was held to ransom to get their data out. And there's no impact assessment done. And you know, I'm going to be a bit harsh now. That's just bad governance.
Mm.
There's not even bad governance, it's absent governance. So that's my second message. Do an impact assessment. Do an implementation plan. And however long you think it's going to take you, double it. Because you've got a day job as well, haven't you?
You have. And I think there's a massive part around this in the sense that the implementation plan and the impact assessment, you've got to look at how you get the staff that you employ to buy in to doing what you're doing, because you're asking them to fundamentally, massively change everything that they do. So that's not just the training element, it's the personal element of getting your head around tech. It's the routines, and fundamentally, unless you've got buy-in, that system will stay empty, or it will be a constant battle to get the staff to document what you need them to document.
The other problem is these digital systems, they create an enormous amount of data. And that data can be wonderfully beneficial. I've done a recent LinkedIn post about how digital systems can help you comply with CQC requirements, but it can also make you look really bad. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I always check when I do audits using digital systems, it's really easy. So I will always correlate medication, fluid intake, and bowel movements. And amazing what you see, isn't it? Someone's target fluid intake, maybe it's 1,600 mils a day. How much were they offered? According to the digital system, 1,200, 850. What do the providers say then? Oh, that's because the staff don't always record it. And I go, that doesn't make it better. That makes it worse. No, because you're not only recording or meeting the person's needs, you're now telling me your staffing's not adequate as well.
There's also other problems that they put in place, and this again is about how you have to get the staff's understanding and buy-in, and them really understanding the impact of it. In paper care plans, it's very difficult to copy and paste from one handwritten care plan into another handwritten care plan, unless you sit and copy it word for word. It's easy in lots of systems to copy and paste a care plan, and quite often you find that Fred's name ends up in Joan's care plan.
Transgender care plans.
Yeah.
And I have a client at the moment that another one of my consultancy colleagues is now helping them rewrite their care plans, and they have fallen victim to that very thing. They expedited the process. Oh, Fred's got diabetes, so is Joan. Copy, paste. He becomes she. Left leg becomes right leg. Fred becomes Joan. Mm-hmm. And okay, if it happens as a one-off, you can say, oops, that slipped through. But no, it's all the way through the system. So that's just not person-centered, not respectful. And that's a really good example of how it can go wrong, isn't it?
Really, really wrong. And these things are easy to pick up, because I can guarantee you that if you've got it in one or two care plans, you will have it in lots of them.
I find when I audit care plans, things like that just stick out like the proverbial sore thumb. And they've got you spot that. And you know what the answer is? Everybody makes the same mistakes. It's really obvious.
It's also about perspective, though, isn't it? So for me, auditing a digital care plan, I don't know that person. that I'm reading about. So I'm actually making the effort to really read that plan and learn about the person. Whereas if we know people, it's like listening and communication. You know what? I'm too busy reading the plan, but I'm thinking about the next job that I need to be moving on to, rather than really reading it and seeing where the problems are.
Let me tell you about auditing. And I think this is what the service regulators want to do. That's why they want digitalization. They want to audit offline, don't they? And when I audit a care plan, whether if I'm in the service or whether I do it remotely, I use 3 computer screens. Even when I go to a service, I have these 2 extra screens that go on my laptop, which is great. But I will open the care plan up in one screen. I'll open the risk assessments up on another. I'll open the care record up on another. And I'm like cross-referencing all the time. Whereas when it was paper, you were like back and forward in the file, weren't you? But also, when it was paper, you were probably perched on the end of a desk with it on your knees. Now I'm like, well, I can do deep dive. I can do forensic stuff. Some of the systems even let you do a search for words.
Yep.
It's great. It's great from an auditing perspective.
It is.
And the example that we've just given where you think something's being copied and pasted, some systems even let you search for that thing in everyone's care plan.
There are other systems as well where people have discovered that there are certain keys on the keypad that they can just click that key and it enters something in, when actually that entry might be completely incorrect.
I listened to a recording the other day. One of my clients sent it to me, and it was feedback from a contract monitoring officer, recorded with their consent, by the way, okay? And the feedback from the contract monitoring officer actually said, you've been doing the initial assessment, and the initial assessment, based on your answer, yes or no, auto-populates your care plan. And you've left it at that. So you've put stuff in that's not relevant. Does so-and-so have dementia? No. And it auto-populates then, Joan doesn't have dementia. Well, you don't even need to put that in at all, do you? And it was quite interesting. And I must admit, even though my client doesn't particularly like this contract monitoring officer, we both respect the person because she is incredibly good at what she does. I mean, her bedside manner's got a little bit to be desired, but she does know her stuff. I really hope she's not going to listen to this, because if she is, she's going to know who she is. But I do admire what she does. She's very forensic and she's very supportive of my client, but in quite a rough way. You know what I mean?
I get that. I get that. I remember saying to somebody once, I don't come to work to be your friend. I come to work to do a job.
Yes, very true. Mind you, I was told yesterday that my tone was inappropriate.
Well, this is really interesting, isn't it? Because I was watching a video earlier.
Was it me?
No. About how children are very kind of literal. And the story goes where a mom's showering her kids and they're jumping up and down in the shower. And the mom's stressed and she says to the kids, can you just stop that? Can you just not stand still? And the kid turned around and says, but Dad says he's just going to jump in the shower. So kids are literal, but we as adults infer meaning into stuff that's potentially not there. So you called me a swot the other day, and I said to you, is that perception is projection?
I have no idea what that meant.
So perception of projection is where we perceive something in somebody else, which is actually a projection of ourselves.
I have no idea what that means.
I'm sure you don't. So fundamentally, this person may have found your tone rude.
Yes.
But that may be a projection from them.
I thought that she was being... I'm not going to say the word. Actually, But I never said it. I just apologized. Do you know my apology was not accepted? So I tried again, and it wasn't accepted. Oh, there you go then. I then went and told the boss person that I'd upset one of the staff. And then I went and told the manager service that I'd also upset one of their staff. And I said it wasn't intentional. I tried to apologize twice. It wasn't accepted. There you go. And all I did is ask for something that she couldn't provide.
And I think the thing is that those are normal things that happen in life.
Yeah, but you know. So we need to get back to.
I was going somewhere with that.
Go on then. Go on then.
I was going somewhere, and you just jumped in there and shot me down in flames.
Is that perception is projection?
No, I'm just pulling your leg now. Right, okay. So my thought was, those are normal, natural things that happen in life, right? We upset people, we miscommunicate, things are done, and we didn't really mean to upset somebody. However, when it comes to the wonderful world of digital care planning, when we get it wrong, we can potentially find a real reason or a root cause for why it went wrong. And that could be some of the things that you've mentioned. So a lack of due diligence around a product, a lack of saying, does this product fit? A lack of one person looking at the product and only looking at it from their needs. So if I was to look at a product, I'd see it in one way. But if you looked at the same product, I'm sure you'd give different feedback, because your way of looking at things is different to my way of looking at things, because we're two different people with different career and knowledge experience. So we can, when things go wrong, we can work out a root cause of where that went back to change that.
Very true. And when digital goes wrong, it's the digital system that gets the blame.
Yeah.
But it's people that push the buttons. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, it's not the fault of the digital systems. It's the fault of the people that chose, specified, implemented, used, and abused the digital systems. I don't want people to think that we are anti-digital, because I'm not. I think it is absolutely the future of care. And I agree with that quote that you read out. I can't believe I'm agreeing with government, but there we are. I think it is the future. I really, truly hope that it becomes embedded across the sector, because I think its potential is tremendous.
I completely agree. And as somebody that has helped digital companies kind of build software, write software, I'm very much pro. But it's not just care planning systems. It's things like acoustic monitoring. It's things like intelligent mattresses and things that sense temperatures and
smart sensors,
rhythms. Yeah, it isn't just about, when we think of digital, it isn't just about a care planning system.
I did a LinkedIn post a couple of months ago about we mustn't replace the dusty box of paper records with the electronic equivalent. It's the future, isn't it? The next generation is going to be totally predictive of, next generation of digital is going to be totally predictive, isn't it? It's going to be using machine learning and algorithms to detect that Joan's going to get a pressure ulcer in 3 days. So therefore, these are the interventions. It'll be writing care plans for us in the future.
Yeah.
And it'll be doing a better job than humans can. But it needs to be the right system for your service. So I think our message is work out what you need, work out exactly what you need, research it, choose wisely, keep asking questions of the salespeople, do a proper implementation plan, including resource allocation, project manage it. I mean, Lucy, we could do a whole episode on project management in social care and the lack of it at some point, couldn't we?
Good.
Do a risk assessment, because it's massively risky, isn't it? It's like changing from one thing to another. You could really fall down the hole in between.
Good.
I would also say it needs to be built into your business continuity plan as well. The implementation of it, I mean. Because one of the things I hear quite a lot when I'm commissioned to do audits of services is, oh, well, that's not right because we're still moving from one system to the other. And my answer is, but are you providing care? Yes. Well, it should be right, shouldn't it? Whatever system you're using, it should be right.
And it's super important to be in your business continuity plan, because as somebody that lives in the middle of nowhere, who has a supply of candles and solar lamps charged, I have to be prepared for the more frequent power cuts that other people don't get. So if you're going to implement a digital system and then all of a sudden you have a power cut, then where's all your information gone?
Gone. It's gone. Where's your workaround? Indeed.
It's not just about buying sweets out of a jar in a shop.
And it's, please don't be a lemming. Lucy, do you want to do the advert at the end?
The advert.
You know,
The advert for the Lucy and the Tim show.
You know, the one about please give us likes because we're really desperate for likes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that one that
one.
proper YouTubers do.
That's all the proper YouTubers do. But we're just, well, we're YouTubers without plates, aren't we?
Well, we are, because I've got a long way to catch up with the other YouTuber that I live with that's probably not far off 200,000 subscribers.
And I think we've probably got about 20, if that.
Yeah, if that. But that's okay. I'm okay about, you know, whether I get likes or whatever.
It's what they say. It's quality, not quantity, that matters to us.
And what we also understand is that there will be people that like what we have to say. There will also be people that less like what we have to say. And what we both know is that we're okay with that. So if you like what we have to say, please click like and subscribe. Share the videos. Tell your mates. Bring them along. Get your tea, get your coffee, get your popcorn. You can throw it at the screen if you want to. I really don't mind, because I'm not going to know.
Well, you are if they comment.
Oh, yeah, they can comment as well. We had comments, you know, last week.
Did we? Were they nice?
They were very positive about not shutting up Lucy Buxton, because she's got a lot of really important stuff to say.
But wasn't very nice then, was it? Because I shut you up, didn't I?
Do you know what, Tim? I'm absolutely okay with you shutting me up. And I tell you for why. I think you've got some very inspiring stuff to talk about. And I think folk need to hear it.
That's nice, isn't it? I needed that. I've had a really stressful day. So thank you, Lucy. I never quite know what you're going to say before you say it. So that's always like interesting doing these recordings. I think, what's she going to say now? But I must admit, what you do say really does make me think. And I hope that what we both say and the way we say it makes lots of people think. And that's why we do these recordings. That's why we spend an hour every other Thursday evening. We do it on a Thursday evening, mostly. We spend an hour, we do a bit of planning, we have a chat, and we want to make people think, we want to inspire you to do good things and not to make the mistakes that others have made, because that's what it's all about in learning, isn't it? Yes. So shall we say bye-bye and sign off?
Possibly. I'm just thinking if there's a Lucyism in there.
The which?
A Lucyism.
Have I used the Lucyism? Go on then, which Lucyism?
Do you know what? I think what I would say when you are thinking about digital software systems, I'd just pause and I'd breathe and I would ask yourself, for what purpose?
Lessons in life from a life coach about digital. What a way to sound off. Sound off. Sign off.
You can sound out if you want. I mean, I often do that. My ears are open for folk who want to sound off.
So thank you for watching or listening. We've enjoyed making this episode. We will do another episode in a couple of weeks. Not sure what about. We'll decide on something. And I need to say, don't I? Shall I say it or not?
Shall
I say it about the Christmas one?
About the fact that we've got a special guest.
We've got a special guest before Christmas.
We have.
We've got an actual social care god.
We have.
We have.
We have.
We can't believe it.
And he might even wear a Christmas jumper.
We're all going to wear a Christmas jumper.
We are.
We're going to wear Christmas jumpers, but we've got a special guest. It's the social care god. If we're lucky, you might even sing.
He might.
He doesn't know that yet. So we're not going to say who he is, but that's a tease, isn't it? But if he does watch this, we were talking about you, sir. So that's our special guest in our pre-Christmas episode.
Exciting.
There's one in between, isn't there? A normal one.
There is. There is.
And we also, in 2024, we are going to continue doing this. We'll have other special guests, won't we?
We will.
So if you think you should be our special guest, you know where to find us in the comments.
We also have a little list
of special guests.
They don't know it yet.
No, none of them do. Well, one does.
One does, yes.
One does, because he's agreed.
Yes.
And wear a Christmas jumper. But I reckon he wears a Christmas jumper every day in December anyhow.
I thought you were going to say he wears a Christmas jumper every day. That I would probably believe.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't wear a Christmas jumper every day. Okay, he doesn't. Because he doesn't, because we've seen him.
I know. But he might have been like Superman and like had it on underneath his suit.
I do know that he makes me feel incredibly scruffy.
Oh, we're giving too many clues away.
Is that enough clues now? Can you guess? If you can guess who our special guest is, put it in the comments. Right, Lucy, stop the recording. We've witted on for long enough.
I know. We're going to go now. Anyway, Tim, it's been lovely to see you, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.